and welcome to Reporting for Duty, Episode 2. I'm Ross, your host. With me, as always, is my co-host, Jay.
Hello all, and with us as our special guest today is John Carter, the first edition manager.
Howdy.
Alright, so it looks like the matchup today is, Jay, you're playing the Bajorans, and John, you've got the Cardassians, I see.
Yep.
No, actually, completely the reverse.
Oh, yeah. I can't read.
Oh. Well,
But they're both excellent affiliations. A couple of my favorites, so this should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we took a look at the decks earlier, and there seems to be a little more kind of stuff you'd expect from a CCG with these.
Well, plus this will give us opportunity to teach everyone about Nors and how Nor work, site rules.
Sorry?
No, that was the joke. Sorry.
All right. Well, John, as you know,
Ross, I just want to ask really quick, are you getting feedback sometimes when Jay talks?
sometimes.
Okay. I was just checking if it was just me.
No. But, John, usually there's a random event, a coin toss to determine who goes first. But you're our guest. We invited you, so would you like to go first?
Oh, we'll flip for it. Keep it honest.
Okay.
Jay, go ahead and call it.
I'll call tails.
It is tails.
All right, then. Let's see what I've got in my opening hand. Sorry if I'm a little slow. I'm taking a good look at what different skills I have in my hand and what the costs of the different people are. To make sure it's definitely one of those things you never want to overspend yourself.
Right.
I'm going to start with Ragesh for 2. I am a fan of those skills. And I'll draw for 3 and see what else I can take a look at. I will go ahead and play this draw for 1 to put me on 4 spent. And I will play a Tugot for 2 to put me on 6 spent. And then I will draw for 7 and send it over to John.
All right. I will start with an unexpected difficulties for 0. Briglar for 1. Let's go Shandor for 2. And Dolheim for 3. We will draw for 4. We will draw for 5. And play Lee for 6 and Mond for 7. And kick it over to Jay.
Nice. Alright, I'm going to play a Rabal for 2. And because I'm a fan of his skills, I'm going to play another Rabal for 2. We'll put me on 4 spent. I'm going to draw for 5 and take a look at what some of my other options are. And then I'll go ahead and play this Damar for 2 to put me on 7 spent. And that'll be the end of my turn. I'll send it over to John.
I will draw for 1. Draw for 2. Draw for 3. Let's draw for 4. We'll play Yeslar with his awesome skills for 6. And draw for 7. Over to you.
All right, I'm going to start with a Ducat for 3.
All right.
I'm going to draw for 4. Oh, well, I'll throw one of those out on the board. Very useful card, Unexpected Difficulties. So I'm still at 4. I'm going to draw for 5. I'm going to draw for 6. And then I will draw for 7. All right, that's an interesting draw, although I drew it at the last moment, so it's not going to be useful this turn. And I will send it back to John.
Let's see. We will draw for 1, draw for 2. Play another Dolheim for 3. We'll play Anellis Glen for 5. Hazar for 6, 7, and we will actually discard the top 2. See what happens. Of course. All right. And it is over to you.
All right, well, I will throw a ship out there. I think they're pretty useful. So I'll play that for 5. And then after that, I'm going to take a look at what
I'm going to play a hidden resource when you do that.
Nice.
To download my own ship to hand.
Well, that was a good time to have it.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Especially right after discarding a ship.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and play this Thorell for 1. So put me on 6 spent so that I can draw for 7. Okay?
All right.
And then I have
there's my
8
ship
people to
download.
play. Okay. I'm going to fly out to Geological Survey, and I'm going to leave 1 person on the ship and attempt with 7.
All right. Drawing 7.
Cool.
And that is a planet.
Right.
All right.
So Jay, you much of a Cardassian fan?
Oh yeah, I definitely I like both the Cardassians and the Bajorans because they do a little bit of manipulation of resources. The Cardassians tend to spend cards off the top of their deck and start to fill up their discard pile in order to, I guess, increase the resources in the game, either counters or maybe attributes while attempting a mission. They definitely have a few abilities, but I like the fact that they can spend their resources, and you kind of have to pay attention to the size of your deck while you're doing this. And they're not the best at getting things back out of their discard pile. The Bajorans tend to put things in their discard pile usually without getting a benefit for doing that, but then they get a benefit once cards are in the discard pile. So in some ways they're like mirrored affiliations.
I think this one will work.
One will work. It's always a good idea to use just one.
All right. Coolant leak.
Ooh. Well,
I'm
I need
certain
to
you have an
enter
engine.
personnel of cost of 4 or more. That's the first thing we care about. I do have an engineer.
All
So
right.
then after that, we're going to randomly select 2 or more personnel who have... we're going to randomly select one of my personnel from all the people who cost 1 or less or have engineer. So I'm going to separate those out into crew 3. Well, it clears out engineer too. That's pretty good. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Except maybe
Yep.
1.
Okay. I have 5 people that qualify for that. So therefore, one of them will still be in the attempt, leaving me only 3 people in the attempt.
I'll drag that back to crew 1.
All right. So John has correctly predicted that I cannot solve the mission with only 3 people. So that will be the end of my turn.
All right. Okay. I will play a Bajoran scout vessel for 5. And let's see. We will throw a let's see, Orb of Wisdom for 6 and 7.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's one of the special things
Or
about
Orb of
that
Time,
particular
sorry.
Bajoran deck. Most decks cannot get artifact cards into play until they've completed the mission. Very useful.
Yeah, nice way to give a quick jump start to the deck.
I'm going to be making a crew here.
Yeah, just getting them together, checking out your skills, seeing where you can go, what you can do. Cool.
Exactly. Let's go ahead and take crew 2, or crew 3, and they will fly over to Amnesty Talks, and I will attempt with 8 people.
Okay.
So, John, you a fan of Bajorans in 2E?
I am. I haven't played a lot with them, but I think they can do some fun things. The artifacts have really made them interesting. I haven't tried this type of deck before, so I'll see if I can figure out how to make it work. But I think they do some cool things. I also just like being a 1E player. It's kind of cool to have such the more unique flavor to each affiliation.
Right, I do like how the more recent expansions have really focused on affiliation definition.
Yeah.
All right. I also just have one for you. I'm also
All right.
convinced that one will be sufficient.
Okay. 3 geology or 2 non-hand weapon equipment. I don't think I have 2 of those. All right, so let me see. They are certainly stopped.
All right then. That is definitely one of the dilemmas I am a big fan of, because it's not hard to track one seal, and it's not hard to remember how many non-hand weapon equipment I
Right.
play.
Right.
So, at least for me, I'd say that's a good. It's a good one. It's a good beginner level or intermediate level dilemma for sure. So back to me then.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna play one of the better Cardassian cards in the game, in my opinion. I'm gonna play a Vec here, and I do have 6 Cardassians in play. So far, I've played. Oops.
All right.
I don't need to show you my non-alliance. I've played 8 people, and 2 of them were yellow.
2 non-aligned. Yep.
And the rest of them are all purple. So I'm going to use his ability and reveal the top 3 cards of your deck,
All right.
and hope for the best.
You doing the reveal or am I?
Well, I mean, It works either way. Let's see.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yep. So, I'm
All
looking for
three of them.
people that do not command. Is that right? Each revealed that is a personnel your opponent does not command. And I don't
already
remember. You didn't
command.
play
Yeah, I think
Brilgar,
there's a
did you?
Mond in play.
There
Yeah,
is a
oh, you do have
Mond
a
and a
Mond.
Brilgar in play.
All right, so I just get one. Okay, that's okay, I guess. I've definitely
Okay.
done better. It'd be better to pick off a unique personnel as well, but I'll take what I can get.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't think we covered the brig in the first episode with the rules explanation. But isn't that just a place where personnel are held captured off to the side? They are in play for unique use only, and there's stuff you can do off them. Pretty much, right?
that is a good point. Yeah, I think one of the interesting trade-off of Vivek is since I have one of John's personnel in my brig, he doesn't have that personnel. He can't get them, but on the other hand, they are in play, and he didn't pay for them. So if he manages to get any method of rescuing them, that's a free personnel that I just gave him. So there was a bit of a trade-off. It looks pretty good for me at the moment to have his personnel over here, especially if I'd gotten 2 or 3. But it could work the other way around if he manages to get out personnel or an event or any cards that would allow him to free those people. So I've spent 4 counters. I'm going to draw for number 5. I like that. And then I'll play 2 more for 6 and 7. So 2 more counters. So I played another copy of 2 Gut here. The good thing about attempting a planet mission is it's pretty easy to have the range to get home. Oh, although with this ship, I would need to fly. Let's see. So it says, while you have a ship in your discard pile, this ship is attributes +2. And I don't have a ship in my discard pile yet. It says, order, discard up to 3 cards from hand to make an equal number of ships from discard pile into hand. You may do this once each turn. So, if I want to fly home and back, I need to somehow convince a ship into my discard pile. Alright, so I am going to... I would really like to go get those people. Well, I mean, that's kind of a tough call. Alright, I will go ahead and attempt with 8.
Alright, so I will draw 7.
Cool. Giving it a second shot.
Yeah, I decided to give it a second shot. The trick is, there's definitely ways this deck can get ships into the discard pile, but which way you use is the tough decision. So, I mean, they have a number of different ways, and I didn't really want to make that call yet.
Right. Yeah, I saw in that deck there were quite a few cards that had ways to put stuff in your discard pile. Yeah, I think the cards based around that first storyline where Kira was working on the Grumal, actually, those cards all deal with getting ships into the discard pile, getting ships back out of the discard pile, and doing all sorts of nifty stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely that type of card manipulation that I really like in a 2E deck.
Right.
I am going to break my unexpected difficulties.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because it's just a rough draw.
Oh.
Well, unexpected difficulties is one of those cards you see in a very high percentage of decks for just that reason. It is useful when you need it.
Always nice to have a do-over.
All right.
Yep.
And it really doesn't cost that much to have it there. You paid to draw it, but you didn't pay to play it. So.
they get 7. All right.
Well, at least it initially looks like this was a better draw.
Yeah, there's at least something I can do with it.
But he also doesn't have the option to get rid of it. So
Right.
maybe that's more enticing to use it.
Hopefully this will be enough. All right, we'll start with a He Wasn't Nice.
Oh.
Ooh.
I'm going to go ahead and name Rabal.
Okay. Oh, there you go, because I've got a couple of them.
Yep, that was the goal.
Nice. I think that's a pretty solid call there.
Oh, yeah.
And
Probably
then
well
just a
worth
pillage
the
and
5
plunder.
cost.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'm going to have to stop at least one more if I don't want more death. And that'll leave me just 5 people left in the attempt. So let's see here.
And now we get to the can I do it with just 5 game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a nice one because I know a pretty decent amount of geology. You do also share some archaeology.
Right.
Well, I think the choice of who to stop is fairly easy. It is this guy, Thorell.
All
With the
right.
archaeology and, well, no, let's see. Was that the right guy? I'm looking at, he's got my skills, but I think I've actually got the skills times a couple. Yes, I'm fine on the skills, actually. Even without, when you chose Rabal, originally I was happy to see him because of the skills, and I'm actually not feeling too bad about the skills on this mission after looking for my other people. So, I'll go print it up for you, okay? So, let me do the math real quick to see how my 5 people are doing on the cunning remaining. So I would need better than an average of 6 off of 5 people.
Right.
Oh. I'm actually close. But not quite. I think I can get to 30, but not over 30. So that is enough. Alright, so that will make it John's turn again.
All right. And I will play a Haka for 5, which nets me 5 points.
There you go.
And I'm in the lead. We will draw for 1. And we will play Boon of the Celestial Temple for 7. Not super useful, but a little bit useful. And then I will go ahead and attempt with 8 again in space.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, Boon is a nice, cheap little security policy to have there, just in case.
Right.
Yes, especially with all that discarding fun you have in your deck, you really don't want there to be too many ways to
Right.
get that out of there.
All right. Well, I'm actually convinced that I can do it with one again.
All right.
I'm usually not a fan of taking a big risk if I don't have to. So I'm going to give you 2. Wait a minute. Well, no, on the other hand. No, that's fine, yeah. So then I think I'm going to give you 2 anyway, although I
All
seem to
right.
have messed up the order. Just because I don't necessarily want to have to take a risk, even though I feel kind of confident about this. But we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
So the first one is a polywater.
All right. Choose a dilemma to be personnel to be stopped. All right. So that's cost 3.
Right.
So I'll ask both you gentlemen, can I trigger that then?
But it comes back, so I think it's worth the cost, right? Or did you use something?
Yeah, Orb of Time.
Oh, I see. You're saying you use an orb of time. There you go.
Yeah. So
Yep.
I'll destroy that equipment to put the top part of your dilemma pile under the mission.
Okay, so sounds like a plan.
Yeah,
So
and
now I'm kicking myself for playing that extra dilemma when this, if this other one works. But then again, I guess I did actually cost him the orb, so I guess we'll see how that plays out. Actually, I don't mind the dilemma that went under there either. So
Yeah, that was
Right.
not a lucky hit. All right, I stopped someone in crew 2.
it's not one of my best.
All right, and then what's left? So I need to choose. I don't have a commander of the ship, obviously. But I do have someone with officer and a command star to stop.
Nice. Well, that's my memory being poor. Big star and officer, exactly what I thought you didn't have.
So we've got
So that should be pretty good news for you.
count my integrity. So I did 6, 12, 18, 24. I think I may have it. So I will count this on the table. There is anthro and diplomacy and 6. There is law, and that gets me to 11. There's another diplomacy and 17. This is another 6 because there is an event in play. So that's 23, 29, and over. All right.
Very nice.
Cool.
So that worked out for me. And then I will take me up to 40. Oh. We might as well move over here. And we will beam down those 6 and attempt.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, I've
Yeah,
drawn
I'm
4 dilemmas, and it's time to shuffle my dilemma pile now.
All right.
yeah with commanders of non-unique ships. I'm certain some exist, but I don't really think they're all that frequent in this game.
Right.
And actually, now that I think about it, I don't think they're well. I think they're a little more common in first edition, but still not especially plentiful.
Too common.
Right.
So how many did you say you were attempting with?
6.
6, okay. I
Right.
need to draw one more. I think I'm going to be giving you 2 again.
All right. Give me just a second. Yeah. All right, let's do that.
All right, so
Okay.
here's the first one.
Choose an honor personnel. Unless they have honor times 2, that bounces. I cannot put an honor times 2, so there's an honor personnel who is stopped. All right.
And here's the other one.
I certainly do not have 3 physics. All right. So that will stop them for sure. And my ship is out of range, and so I can't do much else this turn, so it is over to you.
All right. I'm going to report Jasad for 3, and then I will draw for 4. I like that guy. I will draw for 5, and I will play Ragesh for 6 and 7.
All
This
right.
time I think I'll go ahead and get a ship into my discard pile. And the way I plan to do that is I'm going to use Damar's ability here. Discard a Cardassian ship from hand to draw 3 cards. So I'm going to toss a duplicate of the Grumal and draw 3. Oh, that's entertaining. Alright, so at this point I do have a Cardassian ship in my discard pile, so I'm going to use the ship's full range to fly home and back out to the same mission. And I will simply pick up, so that's 4 home, and then 4 back out for a total of 8 range spent. And I'm going to pick up everyone, since I can leave some people on the ship and only being down the ones I want to attempt the mission. And 3 under sure does make it interesting to choose how many to attempt with here. Well, I'm going to attempt the mission with 8 people in my crew 1. Crew 2 will be aboard the ship still.
Draw dilemma. 3, 4, and 5 in a planet.
So Jay, a little bit ago when you said, "Ooh, that's nice," I take it that was the Grumal you got?
No, that was not the Grumal. The Grumal I had in my hand on the last turn, I was a little undecided whether I wanted to discard it away yet. But, yeah, so
Yeah, I was wondering if you
let's see, I'm thinking of... That is a good question of what the card I drew when I said that was. I'm trying to think of what it was. It may have been... I think it's the card I intend to play the next turn, so we'll see it soon enough. But
right.
I wouldn't mind having a second actual ship in play at this point. It would make flying back and forth a little bit easier. But we'll see how that goes.
Right.
Oh, terrible Cardassian dilemmas. All right. demo these two and hope they work. So start with the dark page.
Ooh, there we go. So I need to choose someone with anthropology or exobiology to be stopped.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the wrong crew, so let's go to the right crew. All right, I'm not, in my first pass of these people, I am not seeing either of those skills. So I'm going to do a double check to make sure I'm not gaining the skill on somebody. This could be a random death here.
Mm.
It's always a good thing. I'm definitely a fan of those dilemmas, specifically because either they stop someone or they kill somebody. It's pretty much a win-win.
Right, and pretty decent cost too.
And you have done pretty well at killing my people so far. So eventually it might. All right, I've double checked and I am not convinced. I guess I should double check my hand to make sure I don't have any tricks that will allow me to gain a skill. I don't think so. No. All right, I'm going to shuffle up my crew and let's find out who's going to die. What should happen to you? Yeah, there we go.
All right. I will kill that person.
Okay. I don't know. I think I'm going to miss that guy.
All right. Now,
I got decent counting.
2 astro and 2 physics, because I'm pretty sure I haven't seen 2 non-hand weapon equipment.
No, and just very nice, very nice. Well, of course, both of my copies of Rabal had that, and he left to play last turn. So
right.
That's definitely a nice follow-up to the murder.
That was kind of the hope, and why I didn't play that when I drew it the first time.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. All right. I think I am a skill short on that still.
All right.
Double checking that. I definitely don't have any non-hand weapon equipment there. Nope, I do not have it.
All right.
So does that dilemma have any repercussions other than everyone being stopped? No.
If you
so I will send it back to you again.
Requirements, you can score points. Yeah. All right. I will draw for 1, draw for 2. Let's see. How do I want to do this? We will play a. Let's draw for 3. A Lenalis for 6. And then draw for 7. All right. That I will. Let's see. I'm going to rearrange some crew 3 here. Let's go ahead and we're going to try it this go round with 7. So you get to draw 6.
Cool. Giving it another
Can
go
you
there.
repeat that?
Yeah. Attempting with 7 at investigate marquee activity.
Okay. And just one under. So I'm drawing for 6 dilemmas.
Right. 6 on a planet. So giving
Right.
another go at it.
Yep.
That's an interesting set.
Interesting good or interesting not so good?
That's a good question. I think I would like to try my unexpected difficulties because I feel like I can do better than this one. So
Hey.
I'm going to draw a new 6.
Nothing. It was cool that you both got your unexpected difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
So you had those options pretty early on to use or hold on to.
Yeah, it's pretty lucky. I know that I believe there's only one copy of each in these decks. Whoops. All right. I screwed that up. Okay. I thought I was going to do a little bit better than this. So I can spend 6 because you're attempting with 7, right?
Yep.
I think I will try out these 2 and
Okay.
see how it treats.
All right.
So the first one is a minor revolt.
Ooh.
Randomly select. All right. So go ahead and just draw from my crew 3 onto the table.
Okay. So sometimes this one can be a lot of fun and do a lot of good, and sometimes it pretty much guarantees a 2-stop unless there's some cheating. But sometimes it can do some crazy big things. So there's a 2. It's going to be hard to do better than that.
Right.
Let's see. No,
3.
there's a 1, so I'm still going.
Yeah.
And the third one says a
4.
1. Okay, let's keep it going. I'm going to keep rolling my odds. We're going to put it all on black here. That's
5.
a 1. I think this is over. That's a 2.
6, 7.
So I'm going to stop 5 people.
Yep. That's a good run. I don't think I'm going to be solving it.
Well,
right.
I think for me the best, that's probably the best case scenario. A bad case scenario would have been stopping absolutely everybody because in that case this dilemma would just automatically go under the mission.
All right, and what do we have here?
This is a bouncer.
I'll choose someone to be stopped. It really doesn't matter, and I am not going to solve. All right, and there isn't much else I can do, so it is over to you, sir.
All right, let's see what I can't do with myself this turn. I am going to, let me see. It could be entertaining. I'm going to draw for 1. And then draw for 2. Oh, I like that, though. I am going to play Ensnared for 2 to put me on 4 spent. And I am going to name Opaka. And the cost I need to spend is 5 cards from the top of my deck.
Oh, what? That's really annoying.
Ooh. Well, I may have certainly paid the price for her. I definitely discarded a few ships there. So that is 4 counters spent so far. And then I'll play Grand for 5 and 6.
Oh, actually you can't.
I can't?
Headquarters.
Oh, okay. Well then, I guess that doesn't work because I She has to be
Yeah.
away from it for it to work. Yep.
Yeah, I was just reading the card.
That's right. I will draw for 7. So now it's time. So it says there's 5 under that mission there. So it really becomes a question of how many I can solve with and how many dilemma counters do I want to give you to work with. Definitely had a few good people die recently. Alright. I am going to attempt with 7 and give you 2 to work with.
All right.
And
I'm gonna.
Sorry.
I can't throw anything.
All right. Well, let's total up my score here. So that's a 6, a 5 for 11, a 6 for 17, a 6 for 23, a 5 for 28, a 5 to put me over 30, and an extra guy. And I believe the skills are just on Ragesh and Tugat.
All right.
So finally through a mission, my lowest point mission. And since I haven't flown yet, I'll actually get somewhere else this turn, and we'll see if we can't do a little bit more with ourselves. So I'll beam everyone up to Crew 2 and fly to another mission. Move all to top of Crew 2. Interesting. Oh, wait. This is a mission that, did we check my skills to see, did you see if I had 2 geology?
You got a second geology, I think.
Alright. That sounds right. I know that I had multiple copies of this, of the skills for the mission.
I'm pretty sure I saw a second geology.
That is true. I know that this isn't optional text.
Right.
So
I think for the extra
I guess they could. Yeah, I was just trying to see what next mission I want to go to, and it is a matter of decision. Well, let's see. That's an interesting skill to require on a mission. I do think that me naming Opak and her not coming over here and spending the 5 cards off the top of my deck, considering what they were,
that could be a rough turn of events.
Was a bad call. Although I do have another one of those in my hand. I don't know if I want to go for 2. But that was the card that I was excited to see on the last
Gotcha.
turn. Alright, I am going to choose to go to Survey New World.
Alright.
You know, I guess as far as, because I have not flown this turn yet, I'm going to choose to fly home, get my 1 extra guy, and then go to Survey New World. And then I'm going to be sitting 1 out, which I'll put into Crew 1. So I'm going to have 9 attempts from my Crew 2. So the Crew 1 is on the ship.
All right.
Crew 2 is on the ground.
5 and shuffling again.
Yeah, actually, Jay, speaking of Opaka, normally you hope that your high-power personnel don't get randomly selected during a random stop, but with Minor Revolt, that's actually not a bad thing.
Oh, yeah.
You need to stop to a total cost of 6, so Opaka's 5 right there.
Yeah, it would have been safer to have chosen somebody that I saw get stopped by Minor Revolt. I had definitely thought she wasn't at the headquarters because she was played early on. I thought she'd left. But there's definitely a safer way to play things to name someone that you specifically saw not being at the headquarters.
Right.
All right. I'm. Let's see. Thinking about if I want to throw a second one just to be safe. You know what? Since I think since it worked so well last time, we may do it again. So we'll
Interesting.
start with the dark page and see if you've added Anthro or Exo.
Oh, good call. Well, let's see now. Now, the person I sat out doesn't have those skills. But I think that if this hits again, which I really haven't added that many people to the mission attempt from last time, so it seems likely, that's pretty good to kill someone and put a dilemma under. That seems like
Right,
pretty
I'll
solid.
take that.
Especially if it manages to set up the follow-up dilemma.
Yeah.
Alright. I'm not seeing it on my first pass, so I will double check. It would be pretty funny if I didn't see it, and then when you randomly select someone, that person has the skill. Alright. Okay, someone is going to die again.
All right. Let's see who perishing this time will be a Rogesh.
I think that might be bad for me. I think you've chosen well both times.
All right. Yeah, it certainly helps this.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. When you said you were going to throw just one, I thought there was a pretty good chance of it was the one that I got pretty well with it on. And when you said that, I did have 3 physics in my team because I was looking at it.
I knew you had a lot in the deck, but...
And Rogesh was one of them. So I was starting out with 3 physics in there. I think I can still get 3 physics.
Oh, what? Oh, because of Ducat.
While this personnel is facing a dilemma, you may discard a ship from hand to make him gain a skill from your other personnel present till the end of that mission. So I think I'm going to go for it.
All right.
One thing, it's a good thing to do in 2E, is before you go and spend the resources to beat this dilemma, and you definitely have the time to do this, double check to make sure you can solve the mission. Because if they're just going to fail the mission and be stopped anyway, it's kind of unfortunate to spend the resources. So we're looking at officer and security on Damar there, and engineer also. So he has all the skills. So I think we're okay with that. So I'm going to discard a ship from hand.
Okay.
And I think when I'd spent that capture card, and then I'm just going to show a bunch of people to show that they have attributes. Yeah, I lost a couple ships off the top of my deck, and this is definitely the type of deck that uses ships,
right?
To overcome dilemmas. So losing a couple more ships were pretty heavy resources, I thought. So let's see here. So that puts me at 70. 1, 2, 3, and 5. There we go. And I have used all my range this turn since I returned home, so I will send it back to John.
All right. I will start by drawing 1. Okay, we're going to play an orb transport vessel for 6, and then a Briglar for 7. He's going to join. He and Lee Nollis can fly that ship. So now their crew 1 will come over here. And I'm about to do what I think Bajorans do best if I understand how this deck is supposed to work. We're going to find out. All right, let's move them all into crew 1 for a second. let me see if I think if I'm doing this right. Going to attempt with 3, then play Ascension to add someone to the crew. I think that still means you only get to draw 1.
That is a good point. That could work really well for you.
So
and I don't have my unexpected difficulties, so I'm hoping that this one costs 1 and can be played at a planet. The odds are not good. I will give you 1 dilemma.
Oh. Okay. It is.
It is the launching.
2 astrometrics or 2 physics. That is not happening. All right. And so they are all stopped, and that's sad. All right.
Oh.
Let me just look at something here. We are going to then be upset. Gonna beam some people over to the Bajorans scout vessel and fly it back to Bajor. I just thought I had that trick gonna work so well.
That trick works really well a lot of the time. I've faced it quite a few times. So it does seem like a decent trick to hang your hat on.
All right. We will take 2 back on this here ship. We will then attempt with the crew of 7.
So you have a crew of 7 and 4 stopped on the planet. So which crew is attempting now?
Crew 1. Crew 2 is all stopped.
And which crew went home? Oh, crew 3 went home, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that means I can draw 4. Now it would be sort of hilarious if all these are space or, unusable after drawing 1 and having it be definitely usable. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Interesting.
John, I don't think this is going to go too well for you.
Yeah, probably not.
Well, I don't know. It's sort of interesting. I have 2 dilemmas that are playable, but it doesn't look like I can afford both of them. I will give it a shot, though, with this one. I think it's another one of my favorite dilemmas in the game. We'll see how this works out.
All right. Go for it.
So, this is inequitable exchange. It is a cost 3 because I have one of your personnel in my brig.
Right. So that person joins the mission attempt.
So you will get that personnel back when I get a choice of somebody to take out. The question is, can I eliminate the skills?
You probably can.
Yeah, diplomacy and 2 leadership.
Well, diplomacy is definitely one of the skills that Bajorans have in spades. But 2 leadership sounds pretty reasonable. Actually, it looks like you didn't even come in with it.
Nope. Nice.
Well, in that case, I might just be able to pick someone that's better, because I do have to say, I have not done well at capturing this turn. That guy I took right there, cost 1, the most 2 common skills on Bajorans isn't exactly one of my favorites.
He does have super integrity, so.
He does have decent integrity, I'll give you that one. I guess the question would be, which card do I think would treat me the best if you don't have it against my dilemmas? I think I'm going to take Hazar, because I'm still bitter about what he did to me.
Fair enough. All right. Well, pretty much everyone I have in play is stopped or out of range or something. So it is over to you.
Alright, that puts 4 dilemmas under that mission, and I am a little bit relieved because I realized it was something I didn't do last turn. But I really needed to do last turn, and I get another shot to do it. I am going to draw for 1. I think guy's already in play, but I guess he's not unique. That's okay. I'll play a Rabal for 2 to put me on 3.
Alright.
I will draw for 4. I'll play a Thorel for 5. I will play a Chugat for 6 and 7. And what I did not do that I should have done is I should have played this card Superior Position. It says, to play this interrupt, I must have more points or command more ships than you. Now, I don't command more ships than you.
But you have more points.
So I need to do it while I have more points. And if you completed that mission, that would not have been the case. So I need to discard the top card of my deck to take a Cardassian from discard into hand. And another reason I really didn't like that paying for Opaka was that I'm pretty sure the deck has just 5 ships in it. And I am down after having drawn 3 copies of the Grimal, I threw away both copies of the Universal ship on trying to get Opaka. So I was down to 1 ship even ever being in play. So now I have a ship in hand which could be useful for cheating dilemmas, or it could be useful for double attempting a mission since space is next. I'm going to fly straight out to space and give it a go with 9. So that'll be everybody that is not at my home.
Cool. Sounds like you're going for it, Jay.
Well, I mean, this one seems pretty reasonable skill-wise for this deck. That's pretty reasonable right there. Those are skills I have in spades. Attributes isn't too crazy.
Plus, ultimate irony, it's actually in the Bajoran system.
Yeah, it's in the Bajor region, which I've definitely used that in a Bajoran deck a few times. They have a couple of pretty good treachery personnel.
Yeah, and in the right deck, the Bajoran Bajor system deck is a pretty good force.
Oh, I didn't even realize this is a 2-range mission to begin with, so I can actually fly home and come here in 1 turn. I was assuming that it was at least a 3-range mission without looking at it, because anything less than 3-range in space is pretty rare in this game.
Yeah, definitely.
So, in some ways, having the second ship in play isn't as necessary as I had thought it was. Since I do have a ship in my discard pile, I would be able to, assuming that I can still staff this ship, fly home and come back out in a single turn. Now, if John continues to kill all my people, I might run out of staffing.
Well, that's actually the good thing about
one thing I've been doing at my other missions is I've been sitting out a large star each time. At each of the planet attempts, I sat out a large star personnel because I specifically did not want to get destaffed. Are you ready to go, John?
Just about.
Okay, well, wait. I just thought...
I'm just figuring out.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Feel free to play them all.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess that this should get the job done. I'll try it. All right. We will start with what probably will do it by itself, personal duty.
Ooh, good one. Good one.
With Cardassians, that'll...
All right, I'm going to
stay everything.
Find all of the people who qualify for that. I found 2 so far after looking at 3. I found 3 after looking at 4. I found 4 after looking at 6. 5. 6 so far. There are 6 personnel that qualify with that. Okay. You need me to fix it?
Yeah.
Alright, so I am going to hide and shuffle up my crew 3, and I will have just 4 people continuing on with this attempt.
I guess it's ready.
You sure do.
Alright, here we go.
Alright, I guess we're as ready as we're ever going to be to see that last dilemma.
Nonlinear
What's that
existence.
guy?
I'm going to go ahead
That's a Vec.
and
What's
we are
her
going
name?
to
No, his name
discard
is
an
a Vec.
equipment. So
Unless you discard a card of the same type, randomly select a
Yeah.
personnel to be stopped, and this bounces. So I need
Yep.
an equipment.
Yep.
Alright, I do not have one. Who you
I
stop
figured.
will not matter, because I live with just 3 in play,
Right.
but that means you get that one back.
Right.
Which means it
the
was
no-cost
not a
dilemma.
bad play.
Yeah.
Alright, that will make it your turn.
Okay.
I will...
Alright. I will then draw for 1. I will play a Hazar for 3. Haha! He returns.
That, I did notice he was universal, but
Yep.
pretty good play.
And let's see. I'm gonna play Shandar for 4, draw for 5. Draw and then let's play a Yelsar for 7. Nope. I will then fly this ship over here. Actually, that's silly. I will just have the crew of 4 that went through the first time attempt with 4 under. Actually, let me double
So
count.
the original crew of 4 is attempting with 4 under.
Let me double count my attributes really quick.
Yes.
There's diplomacy.
Yeah, I might want to double check
leadership.
that before you say.
22 plus 6 is 28. Yep, they'll do it.
Alright, so I'm going to throw a copy of Uninvited and see if I have another card that costs 0 in my dilemma pile. This would be a good instance to know your dilemma pile pretty well, but
Yeah.
that is not the case. I did get it. Would be funny if that's the only cost 0 one that would have worked and I had just drew it last time. Although I can get a cost 1, it would not necessarily help me out in this case. Actually, now that I'm seeing my dilemma pile, it was not a bad play because obviously I've played this one on you a few times now.
Oh, right. Polywater. Yeah, that'll stop
and
them.
it is a cost 0 when you have less than 5 and will stop 1 person.
Yep. Well, then I'll bring the rest
And
of
back.
everyone over. Yep.
Okay.
And then I'm going to figure something out.
That's my friend.
Which is possibly...
Yeah, so now there's 5 underneath there. Oh no, Polywater bounced. Never mind.
Still
Yeah,
4.
Polywater is a pretty solid dilemma. I'm a fan of that one. I
Yes.
think there's only 1 in the
All right.
dilemma pile.
Actually,
But it
due
keeps coming back
to
around.
some terrible luck, going to come over here with everyone else but the people on the planet because I'm short leadership. Right now. So let's go. We'll make a probably pretty solid sized group to make a run at this bad boy.
Yeah, this does look like another solid mission that fits pretty well into the Bajoran skill set.
I will go down with Crew 1 with 9 at Transport Delegations.
Okay.
Yeah, John, you came really close to getting that Investigate My Key activity.
Right.
Yeah, that uninvited was a fun little quick one to put in to try and do something.
Right.
Very interesting.
Oh.
Well, this is a bit of a trick because I do think, you have to think about what you're doing this turn, and you have to think about what you could possibly do next turn, unless I'm certain that I can complete my mission and win next turn. I mean, I definitely want to hold John out this turn, but I'm also going to probably want to hold him out next turn as well, because I only have one dilemma under my mission. So, I have some
Especially
decisions to make
considering
here.
you'll probably get the Maquis mission next turn, too.
Yeah, I think it's pretty likely that one's a walk. So it's really down to me solving my third and him solving his third more than anything else. I think that one looks pretty good too. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spent. That one's decent. That one's decent. 1, 2, 3. 4 played would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spent. Don't think I can do any better than this. It's possible that this won't even work with all 4.
So when you said interesting upon drawing these dilemmas, you really weren't kidding.
Yeah.
What's that?
When you drew the dilemmas and you said interesting.
All right, let's just see what happens.
All right, go for it.
All right, the first one is another honorable pursuit.
All right, so this is Crew 1.
Or more likely the same one.
Let's stop. Just look at what's here. All right, honor to be stopped. I don't have a 2 honor there.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So the next one is an easy one for Bajorans, although the Cardassians didn't seem to like it as well.
So my answer to be stopped.
Okay. And that one will be under.
Yep.
There you go.
We'll pick this
The next one is
card
pillage
already.
and plunder.
Archaeology or treachery.
Yeah.
All right.
This one.
We got some archaeology.
Mhm.
And Shandor.
Okay. Yeah. And here's the last one I've got.
Reveal an honor or treachery personnel from
So
hand.
in this case, all the cards I had were all just
Honor
stop a
personnel
guy.
from
So
hand.
that would still...
First we get the
Okay.
random stop, but
Okay, that makes sense. So this is your crew one, right?
yep, drag him to crew
Is it?
4.
What the hell?
Drag him to crew 4.
Can I play game?
Crew 4 is the stop so far. I got you.
Yep.
There you go.
All right, and then there's my show to
Right. Odo up there.
from going to the bottom. Yep. All right,
Excellent.
let's see where I'm at. 21. Not just short. That last stop was just enough, and I might have been able to do it differently if I'd been smart. Oh well. All right. And I can't do much else this turn, so it's over to you.
Alright, well, we're definitely getting down to it. I'm going to draw for 1. I'm going to draw for 2. And then I'm going to play a new ship for 5 to put me on 7.
All right.
So I'm going to fly my initial ship home, and I'm going to see if I can't... I have had a lot of people die so far, but I'm going to see if it's possible for me to send 2 crews in the same turn anyway.
All right.
So, what I've got here. I'm going to pull all my people over to the side and take a good look. Oh, interesting.
So, John, you might be getting a bit of a 1-2 punch coming at you.
Yep. We will see how it goes.
Right? Yeah, but I've got to say, this is turning into a pretty close game.
Yeah.
And you've done a good job keeping pace with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, those dilemmas you faced last time.
Well, I think I played John. We're pretty even in that.
Right. Oh, right, and I think this was that early first season Deep Space Nine episode that this mission is from.
Right. Yeah, it's yeah. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
past
I just
prologue.
remember it comes in the Deep Space Nine starter and 1E.
Right.
And not worth enough points to be usable.
Yeah, these things happen, but with both these decks, there are some cards you could put in to tweak it and either go for that 2-mission win or make the deck a little better or do things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm going to use the order on the Gramal to discard up to 3 cards from hand to take an equal number of Cardassian ships from discard pile into hand.
Oh,
That's a pretty good one.
yeah. That's a lot of skill
Here's a
cheating.
card in my hand. Here's a card in my hand, and I'm going to throw this one away. I'll take these 3. and and pull back. See, it says equal number then. 2 and 3. So now I have 3 copies of that in hand. So that might actually change. I wasn't paying attention to that earlier in the game. That might actually change. It didn't look like I could do a 2-mission win before, but now I'm starting to think I might just be able to do this with 2 crews.
Right, because I know a pretty decent number of those Cardassians have some funky abilities that they could play off those discarding of ships, which you just put into your hand, so...
Yeah, it might have been useful earlier in the game to get through other missions, but this is certainly a fine time to do it as well. I certainly use it at a time where I can get 3.
Mm-hmm.
And this would probably be just a good time to mention as a brief aside that there is another version of Bajor where you can play both Bajoran affiliation and non-aligned cards, but obviously it doesn't have the special text that allows you to play the artifacts without completing a mission.
Very interesting.
So right, this actually could very well do it. Sounds like there's a pretty good
Yep.
amount of shuffling going around.
Yeah, it's an interesting decision of what to send when, and obviously this is where the game comes right down to it. So it is the time to make the right decision here. I am going to, if my math is correct and my understanding of the cards is correct,
All right.
I am going to attempt the mission. Let's see. Yeah. Aboard the Gaylord with 7
All right.
and give you 6 to work with.
Cool.
Shuffle dilemmas. And let's see what I got. Okay. Note.
So yeah, it's always nice with those space missions that you really hope that you still have the staffing when you're done, just
Right.
in case you need to run away.
Right.
And
Actually, this is. No, we're not going to. We'll try 2. All right. Yeah, start there.
All right. I'm
Can't
as
gain
ready as I'm
skill.
gonna be. Nice. Intelligence Officer Programming Exomed Treachery. We've seen Exo looking for Exo a few times.
Right.
Cardassians do tend to be good at intelligence, so it's a matter of, did I bring that in this crew? I did bring intelligence. I did bring officer.
So programming,
Now I'm
I'm sure
looking
you
for
have.
programming. I did bring programming. So that said,
All right.
unless random sex personnel to be stopped.
Yes, nothing happens. Well, then, do you have 3 geology?
Okay. Oh, hello. I did at one point in this crew. Do they still have 3 geology is the question. There's 1. There's 2 on the same guy. And there is 3.
All right, that's probably the game then.
Alright, let's take a look at the skills again. I was looking at these for a while, so it's always hilarious when you failed that. So here's physics and treachery, and the third thing I need is engineer. Did I put one of those out yet? Oh, but engineer is actually on Damar. So yeah, I did plan that correctly.
There you go. That's
Yeah.
17, yeah.
Well, that was definitely a close
All right,
one.
good game.
yeah, yeah. Jay,
I was-
as winner, you get to pick your most valuable card. Which one really helped you win?
I would say it's the Grimal. I was really planning on, in my other crew, I was planning to use 2 GOT since I finally had 3 of him in play to just boost. Well, I guess I had 3 of them in play. I put 1 in one crew and 2 in the other crew, but I could potentially boost all of their attributes to get crazy attributes on very few people. But I didn't end up using that, so really the trick was, though, the Grimal, by being able to get those ships back from the discard pile to be able to reuse them.
Right. And John, what's your least valuable card? What card really didn't pay off as well as you thought?
Tula Trickery. It's useless against Cardassians.
Yes, it is.
The number of times I drew it and just stared at it angrily. So yeah, that would be that one. There are 2 of them in the deck, and I just had to keep cycling them under.
Cool.
Ouch.
All right.
Yeah. Ouch.
I think that about covers it. How about you, Jay?
That was great. It was a lot of fun. It was great to have you here, John. And
Good to play.
And Rossman was an excellent host as usual.
Cool. I'd like to thank our viewers for watching. Stick around and make sure you keep watching us. Keep the thread on the forums going, and we'll catch you later for episode 3.